History Explorers. We're out on this lovely rainy day, but we came to see Burleigh Spa, which is basically an old bathhouse, a Victorian one, which is in the Hackenthorpe area of Sheffield. Now, they're trying to raise £500,000 to try and restore the building. So I felt it quite important that we came down and had a look at the place. But luckily, when we were there, we got took round a guided tour.
We weren't expecting to get took on a tour. We were just expecting to turn up and no one be there.
Yeah, so we were lucky to get that to happen today. So it looks as though they do these tours on Sundays. So we got here for, what, roughly 2, were it? No. Maybe 3. We got here for about 3 o'clock, but we heard that there were a tour before us, so I'd reckon that were probably around 1, 2 o'clock-ish. So what we'll do is I'm going to contact the people and find out exactly when the times are.
So it may be on the end of this video or something.
Yeah, it'll probably be at the end of the video. So come out, give it your support, because they're desperately in need of money. The place is actually very dilapidated upstairs. It's not accessible anymore.
Might look like it's good condition downstairs, but upstairs probably can't even.
But yeah, you will see the downstairs is very impressive, but she said we couldn't go upstairs. But we are urbexers, so we could have just told her that. But I think we'd have pushed it.
Respect the visitors.
Yeah, we did. So enjoy the video anyway, because we enjoyed the tour. So see you in a bit.
From the Stone Age between 8000 and 2700 BC. Due to the building work going on in this area in the 1950s, it was decided that further excavations would be compromised and research ceased. No excavation has ever been done since, so it's well past this site by date. There is a long-standing urban legend that this site once housed a Roman bath, with some believing the pool in the bathhouse today is from Roman times, but there is no proof of this. But the site of Reeknield Way, close by, makes it conceivable that the Romans would have been aware of the spring as a water source. The nearby Shire Brook acted as a boundary between Mercia and Northumbria, and later between Derbyshire and Yorkshire, hence its name. It is mentioned in historical texts from the 18th century that the therapeutic attributes of the Burleigh Spa waters had been known for hundreds of years, both for bathing and drinking. But the first record of the building of a building for the purpose of bathing was in 1701. This simple stone building contained a small round bath and a door that could be locked from the inside with a bolt to ensure that the bather's privacy. This building was built by Mr. Sutcliffe, possibly a doctor or a Quaker. The building was still shown on maps as intact as late as the 1790s. But by the early 1800s was shown to be a pile of stones with a pool in the hollow. The stone bearing the inscription 1701, believed to be from the building, was found later being used as part of the supporting wall for the pond. Sadly, we have lost that stone. We are hoping it has fallen into the pond and we will find it and nobody's taken it and lined their wall in their garden with it. 1734, Dr. Thomas Short of Sheffield, in his book entitled Minerals Waters of England, mentions Burleigh Spa in the same sentence as Buxton. Surely it indicated of high regard its waters were held in. The second Earl of Manvers, Charles Herbert Perrypoint, succeeded to his position in 1816, and Hackenthorpe and Burleigh Spa was part of his not inconsiderable estate. The residents of Hackenthorpe were well aware of the curative powers of the waters. Indeed, one of them used to travel here every year as a holiday to take the waters, before finally making the village her home. They implored the Earl to develop the site so that people from far and wide could benefit. It is worth noting that by 1842 the Earl was 64 years of age, so the idea of cure all probably had more appeal to him at this point. Plans were drawn up and work was started with no expense spared to build the most commodious establishment. The design was in a Dutch style, very popular at the time, making use of the ravines, natural topography, and to have the first floor access to the hotel at ground level and the bathing pools underneath. There was a cold stone bath with steps into it, which remains today. Also a heated pool There may have been more as various services were provided, and one article does state that there were 7 baths, but there's no plans exist for that and we still can't find evidence. A committee was set up of local businessmen, including Thomas Dannyforth of the Sickle Works, to oversee the running of the bathhouse. They appointed George Eden and his wife to run the spa and hotel. The spa opened to a great acclaim on the 1st of May 1843. An omnibus ran from the commercial inn in Sheffield to bring bathers to the spa. Lord Portland of Welbeck was among several notable visitors. Guests would make use of the hotel facilities before and after their bathing experience, and Mrs. Eden made sure that they were all treated to coffee and bread and butter. Despite best efforts, the spa never became a financial success, and over time proprietors changed, prices were dropped. The hotel closed in 1878 and was converted into 2 cottages sometime later. The heated pool had been removed by 1895, and it is believed that the Earl took the marble from it to use in his own home. Again, cannot be proven. At this time, John Platt, former local farmer and gardener, was named as a proprietor. Nothing was written about why the spa did not succeed, but taking a wider look at the area may perhaps give some clue. Burley West Colliery opened up in 1815 over at Shirebrook. Burley East Colliery at Fetchville, at the top, opened in 1887, and then there was the Sickle Works here in Ackerthorpe. Despite mention of farms and such, there was quite a lot of heavy industry in the area, which may not have sat well with the aesthetic and sylvan rural glen surrounded by romantic hills. In 1912, the 4th Earl, Charles Perrypoint, put the bathhouse up for sale. It was purchased in 1913 by George Mulson, a cab proprietor from Handsworth Woodhouse. Together with his partner, William Smith, they developed the children's pleasure grounds. They dug out around the stream to make a pond and was used for a boating lake. Above it was a paddling pool, and in the garden was a wishing well. There were swings at the other side of the building and a sand pit, and there was a wonder tree, sometimes called the zoo tree, a gnarly and twisted old oak tree where it was claimed you could make out pictures of animals in the branches. The joys before the internet. Entrance to the pleasure grounds were through a turnstile, and tea and hot water was available. In a recollection of it from the time, there is a mention of inspecting the plants in the greenhouse for a small fee. Although this is not shown on the original plans, there is evidence that the tennis courts and pavilion were added at a later date. The pleasure grounds appear to have been the most successful era for the spa, for working class families, Sunday school trips, and it catered to a huge audience and had many returning visitors. At the outbreak of the Second World War, a law was passed prohibiting people congregating in groups due to the threat of air raids, which forced the closure of the grounds, never to reopen. The boundaries changed in 1950, and the whole area came under Sheffield City Council. Shirebrook Conservation Group and Shirebrook Heritage Groups were formed in 1989 following the Countryside Management Unit rediscovering the Lost Valley. There were wooden bungalows around the driveway, possibly a workshop near the bathhouse. Pigsties have been mentioned, and a farm. No apparent trace of these remain. It's not clear at this point whether the bathhouse was still in use as a residence, but over time it was said to have fallen into neglect. There was a stone cottage where the current residence is, and at some point demolished, and 2 council houses were built. 28th of June 1973, the building was awarded Grade 2 listed status. In 1998, a funding bid for National Lottery Heritage to restore the building was successful. This is mostly attributed to the hard work and passion of Alan Birley, who had worked as a volunteer 7 days a week for many years across the whole Shirebrook Valley. He was awarded an MBE in the same year for his efforts. The restoration project took much longer than expected, but in July 2002 the spa was opened as a community space and to a great fanfare again. It was badly damaged by lead thieves who knocked off all the original urns, which are on the floor just behind the table, which then resulted in the fence being put up. The building soon fell into disrepair amidst claims that the community had no interest in it. Alan Bailey sadly died August 14, 2006, and the visitor centre at Shirebrook is named after him. There is a tree in our garden planted as a memorial, and his ashes were scattered around him. And here we are today, ready to write the next chapter. Thank you. Fiona will now give you tour and questions in it.
So we, the Friends of Burleigh Spa, are not natural history people. We've come to this as part of our journey with trying to save the spa. The fascinating thing when you put, the history talk we've put together is pretty much from what is commonly known. We've put together stuff from Shirebrook Valley, the TL Platts pub, the things we found down the back of the internet. And what's the most interesting about it is how little is actually known about Burleigh Spa. Even from the archaeological digs that weren't pursued, all the way through its history. Even in the past week, we're finding new stuff all the time. Even in the past week, Nathan Staniforth, who is one of the Sickleworth Staniforth's family, he's currently living in America, but he is one of the founders of the group, even from a distance. I think he's got a subscription to a newspaper archive, and he's been sending me clips all week, one of which refers to a court case regarding Burleigh Spa in 1844. And he sent it me because he'd had a quick look at it and said, look at that, the building was only opened in 1843, and in 1844 they were having to repair it. On closer inspection, the actual offence occurred in 1841, a full year before this spa was built. And I'm reading the article, the 1701 bathhouse that was a ruin by the beginning of, by the end of that century, was actually to quite a large degree still standing, because it mentions in the report that this gentleman knocked down 2 of the outer walls, and his job was to to reseal the bath. And I forget now, because I've said it that many times today, whether he didn't do it and got paid for it, or the other way around, but this was why it went to court. So we learned 2 things from that. Number one, the 1701 building was still in existence up to 1840. And legal cases took an awful long time even then. We've also found that the other gaping bit of the history is the pleasure ground. That's definitely where the Roman bath urban legend comes from, because they advertised it as a Roman bath. The word they were missing was style. It's Roman style bath, not actual Romans. And even though that was, by all accounts, the busiest time for it, there's so little information of what was there. We had a little open day in May when people could come and view the pool. We didn't expect there'd be many here. Estimates were between 70 and 100 that came within the space of an hour or so. It was amazing. A couple of the things that we mentioned in the history talk came out that day. There was a lady came and she stood here and she said, I used to live upstairs. Is the steam room still there? What steam room? Didn't even know there was a steam room. It was quite a chaotic day, but I'm desperate to try and find this woman again, because her story needs writing down, because she's got parts of history that's just not been recorded. If you'd like to come through and have a look at the back.
Yeah, it's very kind of tall. Seen that? It's the prices of what it used to cost to go in. Are you allowed?
They're for everybody then.
Oh, just having a look. Thank you.
They're what prices that we usually pay.
Of course you are. Right, we didn't expect this today. We just come to have a look, and we didn't know there was an history talk on. So basically, we were just
So there you go.
a fluke. Yeah. We do a YouTube channel called Urban History Explorers, so yeah, it's kind of worked well in our favour. We will advertise for you, so Oh wow.
We're going to be able to get people around.
Even though this thing abandoned, we don't get to say goodbye by ourselves. I'm still glad of it.
I know, that's what I mean. It smells abandoned.
Do sockets round the room should you feel the need, if you've got a laptop with you or anything like that. How do you measure? It's 5 foot-ish. You want to jump in, you can tell me. I don't really know. What we do know, allegedly, is that the water is a constant 10 degrees. Doesn't sound very warm. It's not very warm. But it doesn't freeze. The pond that feeds on from here doesn't freeze. It can come at the depth of winter and it's almost like the steam rising off it. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of the local wildlife, the word's gone around and it's very popular with them. Because it's frozen, you know, they're all right to come as well. The water comes into the pool from the round hole over there and it exits through the square over there. It's never been known to flood. It is fairly quiet at the moment, but if you were all very, very quiet, you could hear it just trickling out. When there's been heavy rain, it usually takes 24 hours or so for it to literally filter through. It will kind of sound like quite a torrent coming through. We would like at some point to open the pool to be used again, but unfortunately there is E. coli in it. We have had it tested, and the amount that is in it, if you were into wild swimming, or as we used to call it, swimming, it would be classed as clean for a river. It would be at an acceptable level for river swimming, but obviously we can't do that on an inside thing. There are options, all extremely expensive and invasive to repair, to treat it at our end. Either chlorine or ozone. The ozone one is so expensive, the guy won't even tell me how much it costs, so it's not something we'll be looking at anytime soon. And it would also have massive implications on the pond, so whether it would ever be practical, I don't really know. The best option would be to try and find the source, but I am aware that a lot of the heritage funding money previously went on that and was unsuccessful. But we're not giving up yet. If we could just get a ballpark area of where the contamination started, then we would have a water company that we can go and have a word with. But time will tell. Time will tell. Although the water comes into the bath through that hole, that isn't actually how it comes into the building. If you want to follow me, I'll show you where it goes.
I'll get my pictures on.
Yeah, I'm going to want way back.
I can't get too dark into my digital one.
I'll, you know, put lights. We'll try and light paint it. Well, look at that.
Yeah, put one in there, that probably.
We'll see. I'll go fetch a big one in from in there, because then people can go in and out while you're talking.
Yeah.
We're not going to get everybody in that one.
Right.
You got one? Okay, yeah, you got one there. You can keep them. Oh, right.
Victoria's just going to get an extra light so that we can put it in there for people to see. Through here is the old coal hole. It's a proper old school Victorian arch ceiling cellar, and it's really quite wonderful. It's the room I did not know was here. When you go through, so Victoria's got to get a little light first. Be mindful, the ceiling is low and it hurts. It hurts a lot. That steel girder hurts a lot. There's a step up and there's a pump in the floor because we've got a stalagmite coming out of the floor. We've got standing. Yeah. But if you go in there, in the far corner, that is where the water actually accesses the building. When there's been a heavy flow, it's like a waterfall. As it is at the moment, it's not trickled through yet. You can barely hear it, and if you touch the walls are wet. You can feel that it's coming in. You can feel that it's coming in. I love that little room. We're hoping to do a Halloween event, and that is just, it's the best Halloween structure in the world, ever, without a shadow of a doubt.
Right, there's some more lighting, so we'll have a lot more people. Bigger lights. Oh, we're going in.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody in here.
So I put it at far end. Yeah. So if you want to go on there and have a look, we've got quite a few people, you're probably better doing it in.
Go on, then, Sharon.
But just be careful on your head and the shells.
Watch your feet on standing right. Watch your head, standing right, standing. I can never say which one's which.
Watch out.
Tights come down.
Tights come down. Yeah, tights come
Maybe
down.
further back, Sam, in your way. Cheers.
Well, somebody else told me that. Oh man. Watch your feet. You don't go to school tomorrow. You see. So, yeah, you get jumped on there. Right, so in that bottom corner is where your spring comes in.
That's where the spring comes
So,
in.
on the day after rain, that'll be pouring out. Normally, really heavy downpour. There is a trapdoor, but we don't know what's underneath here because we've never read it up. But this is a relatively new floor, so we don't know what's underneath here. It does feel rather high compared to where it should be.
I'll see if I can send you a...
That stone, we do believe, where the hot coals was put on. So people used to
What? Yeah.
Right, so that's probably about it in here. Anybody wants to wait for me back out?
I'm sure the white's front top. Well, you want to get some photos?
Comes out there, comes down,
Yeah, I
comes down and then feeds pool. Goes into the pool, then goes into Shirebrook Valley. But on a good flow, you can see it flickering out.
It's all swollen, it's barely hanging on, and if you get through, the floor is very, very spongy. We suspect it's been a problem with the drains and the guttering that hasn't been maintained, as none of the rest of the building either. But over time, water has come in through the walls, through the door. When they did the renovations and they replaced the flooring upstairs, they put down that MDF flooring and put lino on the top of it. So the water's gone in and the lino sealed it in. The room beyond the pool, we can't let anybody in because that's where the worst of the damage is. All the ceilings have come down there and you can see the flooring above and it's soaked and it's coming across. As you may have noticed when you're in the room with the plunge pool, one of the panels has now come down in there, but that's only been the last couple of weeks that's come down, but it's because it's moving across. That is the bigger problem. The sad thing with all of it is this, all this, the money that will need to be spent on this building to put it right is because it wasn't maintained. You know, when it was ceased to be used, it was the shutters were shut, there's no ventilation, and you've got a building full of water, sealed up with water going into it. It was fairly nasty. I think it's rest in piety with God. Rest in piety with God. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pious rest. I did like this one.
Which means that now we are allowed to apply for funding, which is something we weren't able to do before. So all we need now is lots of money, don't we all? It's not the best time of year to be doing it, it's not the best economic time to be doing it, but we're hopeful. The council now are firmly behind us in believing that the building needs to be saved and it needs to be safe for the community. It probably won't all happen at once, but that doesn't matter as long as we're able to do bits and keep chipping away at it. It doesn't matter as long as we get the building safe.
It's not going to go all the way in.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we know that now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as part of working in the grounds with the council, you have to take, to get your insurance, you have to be part of the Green Space Forum, Sheffield Green Space Forum, and you have to attend so many meetings. And the one I went to when we were at the height of nastiness with the council and us was about was a speaker from the I1 project, which is a 3-year project that's been conducted in Sheffield. And it's all about improving well-being through interaction with urban nature, which, given the situation we were with at the council at that time, was soul destroying. You know, we're trying to tell people that's what we've got here, but I think now they are starting to get it. This area of Sheffield has the worst life expectancy of the city. Interaction with green space makes you live longer. It improves your mental health and well-being. It is sad that we live in a world now that people need to be educated of that fact that this is here. You You can come here, you're 5 minutes away from a road, a bus stop, you can sit and watch kingfishers, you can hear an owl, you can see fish in the water, dragonflies and everything. They're starting to get it. So, yeah. So, I hope you've enjoyed your talk today. Please tell people about Burleigh Spa. Please tell them to come. Hopefully in 12 months it'll look different again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That's you and me, all day that's us, boo. Came through with that new thing, see I don't know why I trust you. Crazy now I'm just too on, maybe now I'm just too gone. Maybe now I'm just looking for that same vibe that you on. Cause I'm out here with my boys, going crazy in this bitch. Overseas, getting Benz, no Mercedes in this bitch. We made the album 9 months, had a baby in this bitch. I'm with your babe, on the run, like I'm Jay-Z in this bitch. I don't smoke a lot but I get green, but ball out, no SBs. I caught you out, you got served with that beat stop. No step team, I came through and that's real shit. No, Novocaine, but I feel this. Feel the kid when I feel banks, I still be spitting that Will Smith. If I shut it down, we do that. Hell yeah, we knew that. Girl, give me them crazy eyes. Orange is that new black. Cold out, so I think about it. Stress me out, so I drink about it. They talk a lot, but it's all good, so it's too real. Don't think about it. Me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. She took me out of my place, but I stay in my zone. Look me right in my face. She can see through my soul. I said, don't think about it. I said, don't think about it. Came up as a church boy with my dukes on weekends. Waking up at like 6, man, you don't